Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question's to the Minister for Regional Roads. Minister, I thank you for meeting with over the past year, and we've waited for information from Wollondilly Council. The residents of Wollondilly have inconsistency. We have roads taken care of by Council at the boundary of Campbelltown, Camden and Wingecarribee, where they become state roads. Council receives over $2 million to manage these, but residents like Zoe Cook, because of inconsistencies, cannot apply for noise mitigation, and Council claims the costs are spiralling. Minister, what will your government do to fix this if the roads cannot be transferred?
Minister. Welcome, Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Lovely to be here. It's a really great question. I want to thank the member for Wollondilly for her question. I want to thank her for her ongoing advocacy for her community, because I really want to say actually at the outset that I understand your frustration on behalf of your constituents, and I know you've written to me, and we've been talking about this in the department about how we're going to address those inconsistencies, and I want you to genuinely know we are working on a solution for this, because just like everyone in this chamber, we are one state. And one of the issues that I think we've seen over the last 12 years particularly has been this, there's everything for the metro, nothing for the regions. And so we are trying to bring that back together in transport to have one state, because, we've got a big day tonight with the big day tonight, that's right, with the state of origin.
Members, members, come to order. We understand.
Unindulgence, Mr. Speaker. I do know we've got a social media staff who's actually offered to sub in tonight for the Blues if he's required. So we're really hoping that the leader of the House, he must be training, right? That's weird. So we're all there. We're all going to be behind the Blues tonight. But what we have to do, really, to bring it back to the seriousness, is we do want to have one state when it comes to the management of our roads. And if you look at the electorate of Wollondilly, you do straddle over that regional and that state divide, and it is an area, and there's a number of members in the House that have that issue. And so what we know is when you're talking about reclassification, that was an answer that was put forward by those opposite back in 2019. And I can remember we were all so frustrated because they all stood by the side of roads and said that, these roads would or could be returned back to the state government within 12 months. In fact, I remember back in May 2021 asking the Minister for Regional Transport and Roads then to actually, tell us when this was going to happen. And, 2 years on, it still hadn't happened. And in fact, I do give some credit to the member for Bathurst because he did actually manage to squeeze out an interim report that of those 15,000 kilometres that they promised, they did just 391 kilometres for transfer, 353 for reclassification, right? Now, then that was the first money that we saw on this promise. It was an unfunded promise. Now, it wasn't the member for Bathurst promise, it was a former member for Oxley, and then he passed the conch over to the member in the other place, who did exactly zero until we called him out at our budget estimates. And so they had this little pot of money under the member for Bathurst, $250 million, for these 391 kilometres of road, and they just did not get there. Now, unfortunately, that interim report, and I've got a copy right here.
Minister, if I can just draw your attention, I have the member for Wollondilly. Seeking an extension of the additional thing that's granted.
Yeah. Now, remembering, member for Wollondilly, that both your seat and the seat of Camden were held by those opposite at the last election. So you would think they would be across all of these issues. Would have been a priority. But the interim report, the priority roads, there is not one mention of these roads that you've raised with me in that report. So even with their $250 million, they had not done it. Now, we know that the former minister in the other place had that report sit on his desk for 4 months prior to the last election. 4 months, never delivered it. There was no money in the PBO costing to deliver it. It bells the cat on the fact they were never going to deliver it. And so what's left is people like your community, noise abatement available on one house but not on the next house because they're treated as two different roads. Now, I give you my commitment. We are going to look at that, particularly in your electorate and those electorates where we are on the threshold, and see how we can come to a better option. But really, we just have to move forward on what we're doing. We look at reclassification. It was a failure, unfunded, under this government. In 12 months, less than 12 months, we rolled out $390 million on regional roads in the regions. And your community is a tale of two cities, because what you have, Wingecarribee Shire, with 1,220 kilometres of local roads, from that lot, just got $2.2 million. Wollondilly Shire, they had 884 kilometres, like 2/3 the road. They got $9.5 million because that was the city. So that mob of roosters strutting up and down their main streets as National Party, we're here, the party of the bush, they never delivered. They are feather dusters in Macquarie Street. They should be condemned to the dustbin of history because they are a failure, and we are the party of the bush.